I get in an Uber and I've got like a housewife who's driving me home, actually. It was late at night. I said, how long have you been Ubering? She said, 5 years. I said, well, how long do you work every day? She said, I work until I make a certain amount of money. I don't remember what it was, like $300. And so she's pulling me into my driveway. I said, how close are you to that 300? And she says, whatever it was, 150. Mm-hmm. I take 150 and I give it to her. I said, go home. And I'm laying in the ditch and I don't have any idea where I'm going. I don't know if I'd done enough work. I had no salvation. I didn't know about God and grace. You want to start at the top if you can, but you find your way in and then you outwork everybody else.
You're listening to Building Dallas, hosted by Arrington Roofing. With 42 years of roofing North Texas, Arrington Roofing is building a better roof for you.
Hello, welcome to Building Dallas. My name is Reese Arrington. This is a show about people doing the work and how Dallas is being built from the ground to the roof. Today I have Bill Cawley. He is the chairman and CEO of Cawley Partners. He founded in 1996, and they've acquired over 15 million square foot across office industry, multifamily, right here in DFW. We're going to talk about how he got here and where he's going. So welcome, Bill Cawley.
I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to it, for sure.
Yeah. So I want to start somewhere maybe different than just real estate, because you talked about something really interesting right when you walked in.
Yeah.
You got your blood taken and then they swished it around and then put it back into your body.
Yeah. So I went to a place called Next Health, and I'm older, right? So I'm on the back nine, and it's all about longevity and trying to be as healthy as I can and live as long as I can. But it's about quality days more than just time. Because, you don't really realize or think about how many quality days you've got. You're going to get there someday, but you're a long way away from it. But I really like working, so I'm going to keep working throughout my life. But I think flexibility is really important. You see so many people shuffling their feet and bent over, not bad posture. So I'm working on all that. Well, a good friend of mine referred me to Next Health, which they actually they filter all the blood out of your body and they take all the impurities and all the inflammation and then put plasma back in its place. And I sat there for 4 hours. I showed you a picture of it. And it's kind of like taking all the garbage out of my body that's been there for 7 years and then filtering it. And I didn't feel much different, but I felt less inflammation. At my age, you deal kind of with arthritis. It kind of shows up. I got it in my knees and my thumbs and stuff. So, and it's been much more manageable since I did it.
Yeah, you showed me this picture of you holding this bag, which looked like
yellow gunk.
It looked like it had 4 gallons, like almost 3 gallons of junk.
Yeah,
that's just great. I mean, there's a lot going on in media and just the world, and people who want to extend their life, and longevity is a hot topic.
People are spending a ton of money. I mean, if you look at like on the next building I build, and I'm looking at building 2 buildings right now, it's going to be wellness more than workout. It's going to be cryotherapy. It's going to be red light therapy. It's going to be red light sauna. It's going to be hyperbaric chamber. We're going to put all that stuff in these buildings and let people have easy access to it.
Yeah.
People like I do a vitamin C drip, like intravenously. I try to do it a couple times a month.
Okay.
And they put different things in just to try to avoid getting sick, for health.
Yeah. How do you determine what's your process for finding the BS? There's so much out there.
I think there's a ton of it. I agree.
I can't watch Instagram or even, any ad that I might, come up. How do I tell if this is the real deal or not? Like, where do you go to kind of check?
I use referrals, like somebody that's experienced it, that is more knowledgeable than me, that will put the time in to figure it out. But I did Function Health, which did a bunch of blood testing. And, I know a lot of people that think vitamins and supplements are just wasting money. And I think we all take supplements, but we're taking them not knowing what our body really needs. So what Function Health does is tells you where you're weak, so you can take take zinc or vitamin C or D or whatever it is that your body is lacking in. And I thought that just made tons of sense to me. And then on the next health thing, I've got a buddy that's just like a fanatic on wellness and health, and I just draft him. He does all the work.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's good to have people in your life you can trust.
Yeah.
Tell you.
Well, and I think it's, I feel like it's like stem cells. I mean, I've had stem cells in my right knee, which I think have bought me 10 years on a knee replacement because I'm bone on bone. But I think there's a lot of people just pumping stem cells in places that they're not going to help, and they're just making a ton of money. But
Yeah. Yeah.
well, we're all
and
trying.
and you don't only do these really awesome, cool scientific procedures like getting your blood taken out and putting back in. You do functional health, like you told me you did P90X, for the past 20 years.
Yeah, so I started doing P90X like 20 years ago, and it doesn't wear your body down. You're using your body weight. Like this morning, I did chest and back. So, I don't know. I did a lot of push-ups, and it just works for me. It keeps me flexible. I try to do yoga and stretching, but I don't do as much like jumping around stuff because my knees can't take it. So my cardio is either a treadmill on an incline or 5-mile walks with my wife. So,
Okay.
and I don't think you can outrun the fork. It's all about what you eat, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have like a diet you stick to pretty strictly?
I mean, I believe everybody should eat French fries as often as possible.
Okay.
So I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep doing that. And I think a cheeseburger is a staple. I got to eat cheeseburgers. But other than that, I try to be really good Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Then weekends, I blow it out.
Sounds like there's balance in your life there.
Try to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, so when did you start getting on that health kick? Have you always been like that?
I've always, early in my life, I was a big drinker.
Okay.
And I was fast food and drinking. And it got to where the drinking got out of hand. So I quit drinking 40 years ago. And then when I quit, I went to a counselor to kind of quit because I wanted to go understand. I tried every way I could to keep drinking. And I realized it was easier to quit than to try to manage it. And he told me that you need to go find, you have an addictive personality. And he said, you need to go find positive things to get into. So I was a smoker. I was pretty much overweight. I had I was built like a bowling pin. And so when I quit drinking, then I wanted to quit smoking because I was 3 packs a day. So I started working. I made a list of everything, but you kind of got to conquer things one at a time. But I got into working out, and I felt better. I felt better than I've ever felt, and I just feel guilty if I don't do it.
Yeah.
And I kind of got the guilt because of the addictive personality, like on work, and like now I take more time off than I ever used to. But I mean, I should. I'm not supposed to be working at this age.
Well, no, that's impressive. I mean, there's people that never figured that out their entire life.
Right.
And they still live with it.
They pay for it. I mean, you can see it. It's, we all know people that haven't focused on that. But I think you reap what you sow. I think in life you give, and you don't give to get, but if you keep giving, giving's better than getting.
Yeah.
And the more you give, the more blessed I think you are. And I think, your life's going to be what you make of it. And you gotta protect the frame. Cause I mean, what do I got other than this? Right.
Yeah. There was something really interesting, that Steve-O, so you know Steve-O, the guy from Jackass?
For sure.
Yeah. He made a really great comment because he was an addict and got really messed up. He said that his addiction became so unmanageable that it was really going to destroy his life.
Yeah.
But that the worst you can have it is that it just steals enough from you that you can keep going.
So I know so many people that can manage it, and they're really not managing it because they don't have the quality of life that you and I have because they're addicted to whatever, alcohol or drugs, whatever. But for me, it was unmanageable. I was a quart of Scotch every day.
Oh, wow.
And, then I started doing drugs, and I look at that now and I just go, I mean, anybody that would want to go do that stuff, I think's crazy. Right. But But I mean, when you're in it, you're around people that are in it as well, and it becomes normal. And so, like, what I had to do when I got sober was totally change up everything in my life. Friends, there's some friends I still have, but very few. The ones that really mattered are still my friends.
Yeah, and it's not about your life having to be destroyed. I think for me and my decisions and the things that I might do with alcohol is how much of my potential do I really want, and how much am I willing to leave on the table? Uh, and if it's anything less than 100% of my potential, is it something worth?
Doesn't feel right, right?
No, it doesn't feel right, and that's tough. And I think that that's tied to purposeful work. You know, what is it that I'm working towards? Is what are my goals? And then what we think about life.
Yeah.
If I have a perspective that this life is all that that all there is. This is it. Then why not just soak up all the pleasure that I can while I'm here?
Yeah.
Right. And I think for me and my faith is that I go, this isn't it. This isn't all there is.
Yeah.
And whenever I make bad decisions or decisions for pleasure, I'm reverting back to a mindset that tells me, this is it, Reese. Go get it or it's gone.
Yeah.
And I'm believing that lie.
Or how about when you're going to do something wrong, the Holy Spirit's in there saying, don't do it, big boy. And then you go do it, and then you got the guilt, right? But the blessing of having a faith and understanding that God died for your sins and that you're going to heaven is you're getting there by grace, not by, because we're all meatheads, right? We can't be perfect. And I came to faith late in life at 47. I was in an accident and thought I was taking my last breath. And I've lived half my life without God in my life and this half with, and God's better. And, the peace that you get, I'm at morning prayer. Like I was in the Bible this morning. I'm in Exodus right now. So it's kind of a little bit boring, and I've got a prayer journal that I pray for people every day. And the praying for people is so intimate. Like I send little prayer emojis to people that I pray for. And it's created so many really bonding friendships because people say, hey, I'll pray for you. I think you got to do it if you say it. And so I try to be really disciplined, but faith's a big part of my life. But I will say this, I didn't want to live a normal life. I wanted to press myself as far as I could to maximize my abilities. And I came from broke and a drunk and nobody believing me or respecting me, because you lie a lot when you drink a lot, to going, okay, if anybody would ever respect me and believe me or have faith in me, it'd be a big day for me. So I started from the ditch and built up from there. And I knew I wanted to live as big as a life as I could, not with money and stuff, but my abilities. And it's one of the reasons I came from the Midwest and I came to Dallas on a vacation, and I saw Dallas and I said, I'm coming here. And I left a family business with my dad. And I said, Dad, I'm going to go try Texas. And I came here and it worked out.
We're talking about faith and how you started out. So you had a transformation. You were somebody and you became somebody else later in life. And a lot of people at that stage, they might give up or just think that they're, going to be the same way they are forever. Where, on the journey to spiritual transformation, and you're at one point suppressing the spirit or don't have the spirit or whatever, where you were at, how did you cultivate the spirit forming in you? What did you do?
I think the spirit came after me. So I was born and raised in the Midwest. And I was a Catholic, right? And nothing against the Catholic faith, but I would go to church and check the box. So I'd be in church. It was a commitment of an hour. There was no relationship with God. I would sit there making my list of what I was going to do as soon as I got out, go play golf, whatever I was going to do. I had to cut the grass when I was living at home, whatever it was. But my faith was, or my religion was, showing up in church for an hour every Sunday. So when I was 47, I was on a motorcycle trip to Aspen for the 4th of July. I was a bachelor. I got married young, divorced. I drank myself out of my marriage and then got sober. And so I'm sober. My business is taken off. And I was a consumer. So like I wanted stuff, and I would date with no intimacy. I was just a consumer. not the kind of person I would be proud to be today. So I'm on this motorcycle trip, and I get run off the road, and I'm laying in a ditch thinking I'm dying. And it was bad. I had 9 surgeries over a year on my arms. And I'm laying there thinking, the blood's going to come out of your mouth and you're taking your last breath. And for 20 years, I hadn't prayed or thought about God. And I'm laying in the ditch, and I don't have any idea where I'm going. I don't know if I'd done enough work. I had no salvation. I didn't know about God and grace. And so I started making a deal because I'm a real estate guy. And I said to God, and I started thinking about what I had done in my life and what I had accomplished. And it's not about real estate. It's in my personal life. I was estranged from my kids because they were mad at me for being an alcoholic. I had made amends to them, but I hadn't repaired the relationships. I just felt if I go out this way, this is not good. I've been a consumer. And so I started praying and begging God. I said, if you let me live, I'm going to change it up. So I didn't die. I crawl up the side of the road. They take me to a hospital. I have a bunch of surgeries over a year. I'm in bed, and my arms, biggest piece of bone from my wrist to my elbow was an inch. So it was like a puzzle. So they had to put metal rods on the outside. So I couldn't brush my teeth. I mean, I couldn't do anything. And they had to go back and re-break them so I could supinate.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so I made a deal. And as I got better, I went back to the Catholic Church. And again, I'm sitting there and I'm making my to-do list. God kept putting people in my life. And I had bought a house when I left to go on this motorcycle trip. And it had a pool. My other house didn't have a pool. I was a bachelor.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, what do you want to do about the pool guy? I said, just get the guy that was doing it for the last guy. So I'm in the hospital, and my friends moved me into my house. So I go to that house, and on Saturdays, I got my arms up in the air. They'd wheel me out and let me sit on the pool deck, catch some sun.
Uh-huh.
Couldn't move if I wanted to.
Right.
Pool guy comes, big guy. He's a Christian Life Assembly pastor cleaning pools for extra money.
Wow.
So he comes up to me, and he's a big burly guy, and he goes, what happened? And I told him about I didn't know he was a pastor at all. And I said, hey, here's what I'm at. I'm changing my life. This is, seeking God. I want a different life. So the next Saturday, he showed up with a Walkman, stuck it in my ear, and played it. It had a cassette tape. And I couldn't have shut it off if I wanted to because I'm like this.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually I started couldn't wait for him to come. And then we'd have a discussion after he cleaned the pool about what I just listened to. And then God kept putting people in my life. And so this happened 4th of July. And in March, I accepted Christ on my pool deck.
Wow.
And so I asked God into my life.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was euphoric for me. It was immediate change. So it was like I had to change everything up. And I was dating a girl that I broke up with. And it took a while for me to be transformed, even though I had euphoria day one, but to get convicted about the sin that I was used to having and living in. And I went and worked on my relationship with my kids, and I just cleaned up everything, and I just grew in my faith. And today, a big part of continuing to work is to have conversations like this and share faith, because I think salvation is more important than a real estate deal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many people that are living their life without the peace you and I have because of our faith. And it's really important. And so I have visibility because I've been around a long time, and a lot of people come to me for help. And the first thing they get from me is Jesus. Now, a lot of rejection, but never had anybody get upset about it. I've had people reject and then come back and accept.
Hmm.
So I'll tell you one story, and then my older brother, Dan, very close, shared my faith with him 10 times if there was one. He comes to play with me and the member guest at Preston Trail every year. He, myself, and my wife, Keely, are sitting at dinner. And I looked at her and I said, isn't it great knowing we're going to heaven? Just off the cuff. And he looks at me and he goes, how do you know you're going to heaven? I said, I know I'm going. I said, Keely, do you know you're going? Yep. I always carry tracts in my car that John Maisel gave me from East West Ministries that talk about pain separating you from God and how you can ask Christ into your life. I'm taking him to the airport, talking to him about Jesus, hand him the 2 tracts, put him on the airplane. When he lands, he says, I'm in, I'm saved.
Wow.
Every Sunday for probably 7, 8 years, when I'd come out of church, I'd have a voicemail from my brother on my phone thanking me for not giving up on him.
Yeah.
Because of the peace he has in his life. So if that doesn't make you want to do it, I mean, it's just, I can tell you many stories like that are life-changing for me too.
Well, and, I think people try to find a logical path to salvation or to Jesus, when truly, I think, like you said, there was a real spiritual thing that happened in you that convicted you, right? Because I think there's a lot of good evidence. I mean, I'd always read about apologetics. I want to know, what is the evidence for the authenticity of religion and the truth of this Christian religion. But you can't explain it all the way with logic and reason. You have to go, okay,
It's faith.
There's something that happens in us it's a meeting of Jesus, and then the next part of that, which is the hardest part, is letting everything you knew and experienced and we're going after go. And I think to do that, to truly go through transformation, John Mark Comer has a book called Practicing the Way. And he talks about how Jewish boys, back in Jesus' time, they would follow around their rabbis like, a lost puppy. I mean, they would just go everywhere they went. And one of the terms they used was be covered in the dust of your rabbi. That was what we were called to be, is be covered in the dust of your rabbi. What that looks like is being so close behind Jesus that you're just completely covered in the dust that he's stirring up. Yeah. And if we look at spiritual transformation, you said that you got into prayer, you spent your mornings with Christ. It's that action. It's not, the transformation's one thing, but then it's the dedication to following Christ and then becoming more like him because of your proximity, and then finally just doing as he did. And that is the goal, at least for myself in my Christian walk, is to just keep following. So there's can be a lostness that we have after this spiritual transformation, that we have to find dedication to just show up and be with Jesus. And if we can just show up and be with Jesus, he'll do the transformation for us.
It's like I don't think I would have found Christ if I'd have stayed in the Midwest. I love my parents. I believed that the faith that I was practicing then was the way to do it, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing that I find when I talk to people about God is they believe what they've been taught or what they've been through. Like I talked to a couple at a birthday party. My wife was kicking me under the table, telling me to stop talking about it. But she's all in for me sharing my faith, but she thought it wasn't the right setting. No faith in their family.
No, I get it.
No God at all. Mm-hmm. And I said, really? I said, so when you're nervous and you're scared, what do you do? I said, you just worry? Or you go talk to the neighbor about what I'm supposed to do? Mm-hmm. Like, I had a buddy that was coaching basketball with me when my kids were young, and he was an atheist. And he came up to me and he goes, can I be your assistant? I didn't know what I was doing. I was just coaching my kids. And he goes, but I got one request if I do. And I go, what is it? He goes, I don't want you to talk about God because I don't believe in him. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you what. I said, I would love to have you as my assistant, but I'm going to talk about God all the time. And I said, I'll probably more since you told me you're an atheist. Wow. And so that's the deal. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And he did. And we became close. And I talked to him about God all the time. He goes through a divorce. He comes to me, and he's sitting in my room, my office. And he said, what do I do? And I said, well, my advice to you would be to pray and turn it to God. I said, you have to save your marriage because it's, you have to fight for your marriage. So whatever that is, but I can't give you advice because my advice is give it to God.
Right.
And turn to God for peace. And I was trying to make a point, right? He ended up becoming a Buddhist. And he came back to me and he told me he's a Buddhist. And I go, really? I mean, so you go from not believing in anything to believing in a statue? I mean, and again, everybody makes decisions in life, but there's no more important decision than that. Like my kids, I've got 4. 2 of them are walking strong in their faith and 2 of them are kind of on the fence. And there's the older kids saw me as a drunk. My young kids have seen me in the Bible every morning. They're still dealing with the world, right?
Yeah.
The world sucks you up. The devil's winning here. But I'm grateful and I'm not ashamed of it. I don't want to wear anybody out about it.
Yeah. Right.
I think you can't lead with your faith. I think you have to lead with being a quality person, and there has to be some relationship before your faith becomes genuine, because there's people that lead with their faith that are not genuine. And I think it's really important just to be real.
Yeah. I made that mistake in college. I'd want to start by winning the faith argument. And then eventually I went, you know what? I haven't earned it in this relationship in my life.
Right.
And so I kind of focus on, I just want to, if I can just pray that Jesus will help me see them how he sees them.
Yeah.
And then I can love them. He will give me an opportunity. A guy in our office always says, hey, all God asks of you is he says, hey, I'm doing something. Are you going to work with me or against me?
Yeah.
And that means, are you going to act in love or selfishness?
Yeah.
And those are kind of the paths we have to take. I could talk about this all day long. I think the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I think that's why a lot of people come to Christ. I know that I thought I could be in charge and make all the decisions in my life, and I get where I wanted to go, and I realized it left me dissatisfied. And that's when I really went, you know what? I'm not good at driving this bus, this whatever this is. And there's times when I really want to jump back in the driver's seat. I really do. And sometimes I do.
That's human nature.
Yeah. And sometimes I kick Jesus into the passenger seat, and sometimes I kick him out of the car and I drop a few miles down the road.
Everybody does.
Yeah. But whenever that happens, I end up in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah.
And
as long as you keep turning back to him,
Yeah.
I've lived it both ways. I've done it both ways, and I'm telling you, when this is better.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm a better person. Like I used to worry that people would figure me out. I'm fine if you figure me out because this is it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that changed in me from the accident was being more open, and like talking about my alcoholism, and because I think all that stuff brings opportunity for you to help people.
So many people are hurting out there. We don't know what they're going through and who's going to relate.
And listen, everybody wants to give people in life a second chance. There's a ton of them, right? Everybody, there's so many people dealing with different things in life, and it's all on God's time. And, the thing about it is, it's our job to just show up and talk about him. It's the Holy Spirit's job to change their heart.
Yeah.
And so
that's so true. That's a good one.
And but I do always have a sense of urgency because you never know what's going to happen in life. Right?
Yeah. No, I love. You're so right. We do not have the power to truly change anybody. It's the Holy Spirit's Jesus. We just gotta, kind of do what God's calling us to do. So thank you for going there with me. There's so much more we want to talk about in actual what you've done in Dallas. And I think it's good that we start with the faith, because at the end of the day, no matter how many cool things that you got to do here, there's nothing cooler than getting to know your creator, right? But let's go back to, you're not from Dallas,
no,
right? So tell me just give me a kind of the spark notes on how you got here.
So, I mean, I was born in the Midwest, right? And loved my dad. I looked up to him. And like when we were 5 or 6 years old and we were playing, somebody's an astronaut or a cowboy. I was always a real estate guy. I didn't know what it meant, but it was always my only option because I just loved my dad. I looked up to him. And we're in this small town in Illinois and 8,000 people. I go away to college. I come back. And my goal was to work for my dad. So I went to work for my dad. And I realized, I took to it right away. Like, I mean, I was selling houses. I was leasing storefronts. We were doing small build-to-suits. And I took to it. I was a natural. For some reason, it came easy. And to me, I think everybody has a unique ability. Mine is communication. I mean, I'm not a detail guy. If you want detail, I've got a bunch of people that work for me that do that, but I'm 10,000 feet, but I'm relational. But people need to know that it's real, right? So I realized really quickly that the deal sizes that I was doing there weren't big enough. So I thought I couldn't make the living I wanted to make, and I didn't have a goal for an amount of money, but I just wanted to be able to play as big as I could. No idea how to do it.
Right.
I was driven. So I started driving to Chicago and tying up land. It's when fast food was blowing up. And it was in the 70s, right? And so 60s and 70s. And I would tie up, I didn't have any money, but I would go, the market was a lot less efficient than it is today. I'd go tie up 3 acres and then I'd go show it to McDonald's, Burger King, Arby's. And if I could get one guy to buy, they'd pay for the whole thing. And then I'd sell off the other 2 pads. I came to Dallas on a vacation with a buddy and I saw they were building buildings everywhere. It's kind of right before the RTC days when everything blew up. And I just said, wow, this is, I think other than my faith, and my wife, the biggest decision I made in my life was to come to Dallas. Yeah. It's the best place in the country and will be for a long time to be in the business I'm in, because this town loves growth and it welcomes people from out of town. Like when I came here, like Chicago and Illinois was cliquey. If you didn't know the right people, it was hard to break through. Here, everybody helped me.
Yeah.
And so I came here and I didn't have any money, and I knew I wanted to be a developer because I thought office buildings were cool. So I decided, okay, how can I go make enough money to be able to be a developer, to where I had to have capital.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I became a broker and I negotiated leases for corporate clients, and I actually built a really nice business. And my base case was companies with 50 locations or more. So I could have one relationship and I'd do 10 leases a year because they were doing 5-year leases then. And so I could just keep the relationship. And I built a business, or myself and the people that work for me. I hired several young girls that were really smart and attractive. They would open doors. And then I took all the detail guys and I salaried them, the guys that did the work.
Sure.
And over like 7 years, I grew to, we were doing like 300 to 3,500 leases a year across the country.
Wow.
So I started tracking information in all these markets. The market was just depressed because of the RTC days. And so you go to San Jose, California, and there'd be 9 buildings vacant. I'd go back there 18 months later, there were 6. Go back there another year later, and there's like, it gets down to 3. And I go, somebody needs to buy one of these buildings because they're going to lease. You could just see it happening.
Right.
And so then I started going, I tracked all this information, kept all the information on lease comps. And then I started showing it to institutional money. And then I didn't have any money, but they agreed with me. And so we bought a building, and my piece of the deal was very thin because I didn't have any money to put in, but I was in the game. And then I started using my relationships as a broker. Like if they wanted to build a building, I go, well, why should I go to somebody else? Let me just build it. I'll make a fair spread, whatever's in the market. We don't have an adversarial position where you have to negotiate a lease. I can simplify this.
Yeah.
And so I got into the development game.
Okay.
And then within that time, I picked mid-Tollway. I thought Galleria going north, it's kind of the connector. It's the middle of the Metroplex. Like today, Uptown is the number one market. Preston Center's number two. Mid Tollway's number three. And then far north is four. And it like Legacy West going up into Frisco, 121. For a long time, it was Uptown and way north. And everybody realized the middle made a bunch of sense. So I've probably, I will tell you a story. So I wanted to build a building. I had an architect I did a lease for, and I went to the architect and I said, listen, if I can get a piece of land, will you design a rendering and a site plan and a floor plan for me for free? Because I don't have any money. And if I pull this off, if I can get it leased, I'll hire you to design the building. Done. Nobody built a building in Dallas for years because it was just so slow because of the RTC days. I went to Denny Holman at Folsom Companies. They had a site up at West Grove. And I went to him and I said, hey, I don't have any money, but I think if you give me some time on this site, I can get a building designed and leased. And he looked at me and he goes, you don't have any money? I said, no, I don't have any money. And he said, well, I haven't had anybody want to buy office land for a long time, so I'm going to give you the time. And he gave me 90 days. And the deal was I'd come back to him in 90 days and tell him what kind of progress I made. You probably couldn't do this today. But so after 90 days, I had a building and a rendering and a site plan. And I had an insurance company that wanted half the building, not in leases. And I go back to him and I go, okay, can you give me another 90 days?
They wanted to buy half the building, or
they were going to lease it.
Oh, no, I thought you said not in lease. Oh,
no, they were going to lease half the building.
Okay.
So I knew I could go get a loan and get the equity, but I didn't have it yet.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I got another site at Keller Springs in the Tollway from the same people, the Folsoms, and I tied up both those sites. I had the same architect design that building. And I knew Sun Microsystems was over off of Preston Road looking for space. They were 150,000 feet. Like I'd never done a deal that big in my life.
Wow.
Designed the building real efficient. So one of the things you realized as a broker was developers were building beautiful buildings that were inefficient. They made no sense. Mm-hmm. And I learned what people really wanted. So I was giving them what they wanted. Square, rectangular, high ceilings, lots of glass. Bottom line, both of those buildings, Sun Microsystems came and took 150,000 feet. The insurance company took the other. I had two buildings going within a year from zero.
Wow. I
kept waiting when I went to meetings for them to ask me if I'd ever built anything. No one ever asked. I kept waiting. I'd go in, they go, they just assumed I knew what I was doing. It was awesome. Yeah. And then the next one was JPMorgan Chase. I built 1 million square feet for them at just between Beltline and Spring Valley on the Tollway.
So you saw this market gap in Dallas where it was expanding.
Yeah.
And you thought they need more office space. And so you just, that transition probably felt somewhat natural, right?
Well, right. But I had to convince capital, because I had none, to do it. And I really thought my lack of experience, I went and hired or made a guy a partner, Steve Platt, that knew construction really well. So like when there was any kind of detailed questions, he could answer them. But I knew the middle made sense, and you could see the market starting to take off, just like right now. I think the office market's about to blow up. And I think I don't want to be as early as I wanted to be when I was your age. I want to have a clear path to recovery today before I make a bet. But when I was your age, I didn't care about downside because I didn't have anything. It was all about upside.
Right.
But it's pretty miraculous that like we ended up building 1.2 million, 1.5 million, 1.7 million square feet from dead stop zero within 3 years.
Wow. So when you have that much growth, I mean, like you said, you weren't worried about things failing because you didn't have much to lose. But I mean, were there had to have been some times where you're not sleeping too great at night, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I was really excited about the opportunity because I have been so broke, where, I had no money to pay my utilities and I've been there. And so this was just momentum. And I think in life, the number one thing you have to do, if you get momentum, you got to keep it. So many people have something good happen to them. They make a big check and they quit working. It made me want to work harder. It made me want to chase more because I had momentum. And when you lose momentum, it's so hard to get it back. And I didn't want to lose that momentum. And I've been through that in my life. Like I was the number one developer in Dallas when I was doing this from nowhere.
Yeah.
And then I got distracted and now I'm fighting my way back. But, and again, people want to do business with people that they think are reliable and they like. Like, so being nice is number one. Being easy to work with, just be relational because there's always a common ground. It has to work for both people. But if you think you're going to try to win in a relationship, you're going to do one deal with that person or that company, and they're never going to do another one with you.
Yeah.
And anybody that works that way, in my opinion, is short-sighted. And so I've always tried to be really relational. Even when I think they've been somewhat unreasonable, I try to find a common ground.
And there's so many people that have these dreams and goals. I mean, you wanted to play in the big leagues, right? And there's so many people that might kind of see that lifestyle and they want it, but they never even go out there and try.
And I think that's self-confidence or, wherever you are in your, I think my faith gave me the peace. And the more I like myself, I think I got a lot better at this because I was just being real, right?
Yeah.
And
you had to believe though at some point, right, that it could happen without seeing the entire road forward.
well,
Like,
let
where-
me say
where-
this.
how do
I wanted it more than I was worried about being rejected. So I think there's one reason I have a business. It's because I kept going. I just kept going. And when somebody needed to be called, I would find ways to get in front of people. And there's a company doing a build-a-suit, and they didn't know me. And I go to see I used to go right into their space, and I talked to the girl at the front desk, and I got to know her. She says, "Listen, he's not going to see you." I said, "Does he have kids?" And she says, "Yeah." I said, "Does he coaches their team?" "Yeah." I said, when's he have practice?" So I go to soccer practice.
Wow.
And I sit on the bleachers or stood there, and it took 4 soccer practices. I'm sitting there doing emails or whatever I'm doing, It's probably before cell phones. So anyway, sitting there, because you can't be lurking, right? The guy's going to go, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
I just waited, and pretty soon we're talking, and I built him a building.
Wow.
And so it was just trying to be creative and finding ways to, and now, I've been doing it long enough that I get warm referrals, which are the best because people have had a good experience. So they tell people to come do business with you, and it doesn't mean you win, but
Wow.
it helps you.
Yeah. And it's like, so much of our self-worth is tied up in what people think about us sometimes that we get so petrified of being a bother, being annoying. I mean, with my sales team, I have to remind them, hey, if we have no leads, we have no shame. You can't be afraid this guy's going to go, "You came to my kid's soccer game? Are you nuts?" And, did that thought even cross your mind, or did you just go, I want the business.
It did cross my mind. But one of the things that happened that was good there is that I knew another dad there whose kid was there. So I could socialize with him and then get to know. Because if I was just lurking there and I had no relationship, I just got lucky there. But, listen, life is what you make of it. And it's going to be whatever you make it be. And I just got to where I had some success. And with success, you become more confident and you just become more, I don't know if bold's the right word, but, none of this is easy.
Right.
I lose 80% of the time, real estate's brutal, but it's great. And I also think it's discipline. It's, you have to be really careful because I take people's money and invest it in real estate.
Yeah.
I need to give it back to them with a profit.
Right.
So there's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. So you talk about 80% of the time things don't always work out. Has there been any big losses?
Yeah.
Set
I
you
mean,
back?
like I didn't see the financial crisis coming. In 07, we were, we were heavily invested in apartments in Houston and office buildings all over the Southwestern United States, land positions, and all of our partners like kind of turned into pumpkins in the middle of this. A lot of people that had capital didn't have it. And so what I realized there was, okay, here I am. I like all my bets, but all my equity and my capital is gone. They're done. Because if you're 50 million of a $5 billion fund, it's a rounding error. They make decisions that are negatively going to affect you. And then you have a bank relationship, you have all these relationships. They can't honor them because it's not relational. It's just transactional.
Sure.
And so that's why I moved more to private capital, high net worth families, because they bet on you and it's more relational. They'll let you fight your way out of problems.
Right. Because the bank, then they're just looking at you as a number, essentially.
Yeah. And it's not the banks as much as the equity guys, the institutional investors, the Wall Street people.
Gotcha.
And, they're just doing their job. But again, it's all about relationships, and it's about the number one thing in a deal is the people. It's not the deal.
Well, with the institutional money, and it's big money, and that big money buys them time, right, to wait on stuff. So do you think it's gotten harder for, people to kind of break through an industry that feels like it's growing from this, Wall Street money?
Yeah, well, I will say this. I think a good deal will always find money. And there's been twice in my life where I had a great opportunity, and it's usually when you're contrarian. So you're running into the fire. I worked for Richard Rainwater at the Bass family when I first came to Dallas. I didn't mention that when I started, but he was a contrarian. And so it's about buying right. When everybody's scared, you should be buying. When everybody's buying, you should be selling. And so it's buying when things are out of favor, like office buildings. Everybody's scared to death of office. Anybody that bought office buildings 3 years ago are going to make a fortune. Anybody that buys office buildings today are going to make a fortune. If you buy the right ones, you got to buy something that has a reason for being there. And I went 3.5 years without making an investment, zero. And then since last May, I bought 5,000 acres in South Dallas.
Wow.
I bought an office building in Uptown. I bought another office building in Uptown. I'm going to tear down and make it a hotel. And I bought a mall in Plano that we're going to demolish and redevelop. And I hadn't done anything. And now I'm like a drunken sailor out there.
Yeah.
Because I can see recovery.
But that's kind of like buying the dip, right? Yeah. But I guess my point is that, if someone's new and breaking into an industry, they can't afford to buy the dip.
No,
they can't. And so if someone's out there and they're young in commercial real estate, let's say a tenant rep, and they're just like, man, how do I break into developing, or they just have dreams of bigger deals, where do they start?
They have to sell knowledge. I think what I did when I was a broker, I learned, and then I had knowledge to sell. I knew what kind of buildings they wanted. And again, the market's so much more efficient than it was then, but there's still opportunity. So like I tell young people, go learn, be an expert, and people want your knowledge and your relationships.
Right. And that's where the relationship comes in too, because if you find like you said, you were looking for smaller companies up front that would grow.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a buddy, he's a tenant rep, and he's, after years of kind of grinding and not making a lot of money.
Is he doing well?
Now he is.
Good.
Now he is, because I was actually talking to him, just a few days ago, and he's like, yeah, man, I had some companies that I found years ago, and now they're growing. And so they've moved 2 times in the past 5 years.
Right.
And so he's negotiating those deals. Yeah.
It's life, right?
Uh-huh.
So I have a lot of young people that don't have capital bring me things because they don't know how to get them done, but they see opportunity. And a lot of them don't make any sense, but some of them do.
Yeah.
And so one of my favorite things to do is have somebody, young guy, bring me something and help him. And so then we become partners, and then he's in the game. And that's the way it worked for me. Like, but I just think in life, you should think as big as you can.
Yeah.
I don't know why people sell shoes when you can sell a car, or why you sell a car when
Sure.
you can sell a big office building. But like for me, I just went big and it worked. And I think, you got to keep winning the game between your ears. If you have to stay confident and you have to do whatever it takes to stay confident. Like when I would sit there and want to do a cold call, I didn't like cold calling. I mean, you're getting voicemail today. It's just a beating. But I would make myself do it. And then once I got going, I could do it. But and there's things in my business that one of the best parts of my life today is I've offloaded everything I don't like doing. So I have a great partner in Brian Neitzel, and he runs our business. And I just do relationship. I do the investing, and I do strategy. That's it.
You work in your strengths. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So that's such
And it's fun.
yeah. So when did you get to take off all those other hats?
Yeah. Probably early mid 2000s. I'll tell you a story. I was a broker. I'm dyslexic, so reading is tough for me.
Sure.
If I don't care, if I like something, I can read it. I've got this firm that I'm doing their lease. It's like a 100,000-foot lease. And they go, well, I want you to read the lease over the weekend and mark it up and give it back to me. And I looked at them, and it took me a lot of guts to say this to him. And I looked at him because I would do a terrible job of that. I looked at him and I said, listen, you hired me to negotiate the lease, not to read it. If I'll read it, but it's not going to be well done, you need to get a lawyer and have him lead that part. And I'll make sure that the deal terms are right in the deal. And he looked at me and he goes, okay. I never read it. I never did it again because that's what he hired me for.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here to get you the best deal and make sure that the lawyer needs to make sure the document covers you. Because I can do it, but I'm not going to do it well.
Right. And I'm sure that would just be
It was like losing 100 pounds. I was going, this is awesome. I'm going to go play golf this weekend.
That's awesome. But that takes time, right? I mean,
It takes confidence and time and experience. But I think the sooner you get there, the better.
Yeah. So would you say it's worth it if there's a young person starting a business of any kind, just to make the jump, offload some of that, some of your weaknesses?
What you don't like?
Yeah.
You should get rid of all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if it's
Because
just,
then you're doing what you're really good at all day long and you're having a blast.
So what if it's just you and you're, I mean,
Well, then you got to do it. But I mean, like I can tell you, we do pro formas, right? I have 3 analysts in our company. And do I want to do a pro forma? There's no way. Now, I can do on the back of the napkin, I can be within 5% of where they end up after all that work. But a pro forma is a guess of what's going to happen. And I can just run the numbers in my head and kind of get pretty close. But do I want to do that? No way. I wouldn't be good at it. But everybody needs help, right? Like my partner, it's always cloudy in his office. Sun's always shining in mine. So you put the two of us together, it works. He comes from things at a different angle than I do. And it's awesome. And so I'm a big believer, like whatever you do that you like, you should do more of it. And you should find ways to get somebody else to do what you don't want to do. Because then it frees you up. I guarantee you, your business will flourish because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting because, I don't know why I get this way sometimes, but I feel like work needs to hurt a little bit. I don't know.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
I felt that for years.
And I think it goes back to what we talked about earlier.
Should be fun all day long.
But I go back to what we talked about earlier and this, the guilt, I talked about, I think we're off camera, but, I was raised with the guilt God, the God that loves you but doesn't like you very much. And I think that guilt,
I had that too.
That guilt kind of drove me to feel like I didn't deserve to
Well, you
be.
do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the sooner you get there, the better. I'm telling you, I'm on the back nine. I'm sitting here at my age and I'm having the most fun I've ever had. And if I had to do all the stuff I don't like to do, I'd quit. And, we spend a lot of money. My wife and I live a good life. And I don't want to have a pond that doesn't have any water running into it. So making money's fun. but it's also about giving it away too. But if you free yourself up to do what you're the best at, it only makes sense. Like when I was a kid, they would ask you to focus on the things you're not good at. Screw the things you're not good at. Let somebody else do it.
Yeah. Well, so I'm thinking we attribute working hard and long hours to burnout, but it's probably not. From what you're saying, burnout comes from doing things you don't want to do all day long.
That's what I think.
I mean, if I could do everything that I love to do for 12 hours a day, I'd probably want to work 14.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
But if I do what
Because it's
I
fun.
do what I hate for 10
That's why
hours
I
a
keep
day,
working.
I want to kill
'Cause
myself.
it's fun. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I took a coaching class and he called it unique ability. He said, work less, take time off, only do what you're good at, offload everything else to other people. My income just went like that. And so like I have a rule on the weekends, after Saturday, because I catch up on Saturday morning, I don't look at emails until Monday morning. So I've got a day and a half of total away, right? It's unbelievable. All that stuff that's floating around in your head that you can't get a decision for, you keep writing it down on your to-do list and it never goes away. You get clarity on that stuff if you just get it. You got to just totally get away.
Yeah.
But, it's just, I think life is, again, what you make of it, but it's just about building it the way you want it. And if you could figure out a way to make a living at what you're really good at, then you're going to be doing more of it. And then you can hire those people. But I tell you what I did. I hired a guy when I couldn't afford it.
Really?
When I made the decision, I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And it paid off.
Yeah.
I gave him my salary. I was paying me,
Right.
and I paid it to him.
Yeah. And that's good. Yeah. So we got to take that risk and just, move forward.
Well, like I would love to have the knowledge I have and be you, be your age.
Yeah.
Because
So
like you got so much life in front of you. And the world's going to change so much, like with AI and what's going on. It's going to change incredibly, and it's going to be awesome. And you're in the right spot,
yeah.
Dallas.
Yeah. So, for young people out there, I guess it's, and for myself, I'm a young person. You're probably better off not chasing money right now, but finding out what you're good at, because your longevity to stay in the game and perform at a high level is going to be way higher than doing something you don't want to do. So that's great advice. Find what you really, so between finding what you love and what you're good at, what you're good at, sometimes they're not the same thing. How do you figure out which one to go do?
Well, I mean, you're sitting here in a family business, right? So this is your future. And so you just know what you enjoy the most. I'd lean into it. But like, I mean, if I was in that position where I said, okay, what I'm the best at doesn't fit here, I'd go find something else to do quick.
Sure.
But I just think the more fulfilled you are every day at your work and that you enjoy, you're going to be better at it. And those other people are going to be much better at what you're doing that you don't like than you ever will be. Like I tell kids, like I try to help people find jobs coming out of college. I probably got 30 of them I'm working with right now, trying to help them get connected. And I said, number one, don't worry about the money. Number two, it's not your last job. It's just your first one. And I said, the number one thing you want to do is learn. And you want to build relationships. So go there. You want to start at the top if you can, but you find your way in, and then you outwork everybody else, and you work on relationships and forget about the money. Yeah. Because it's about people. Like when you meet the right people, they lift you up. They do, because we all take care of each other. And once you go up the food chain, your centers of influence become higher, and your probability of success gets bigger. And like, I remember, like now at my age, I know all the bosses in all these companies because they all grew up with me, right? You're not there yet, but I'm there. And the higher you get, easier life gets. And like for me, business is easier than it's ever been. It's not easy, but it's easier because I get referrals and I have a life of relationships and I have a good reputation. I've worked really hard to keep my reputation. I mean, if you don't have a good reputation, you're toast, and I know a lot of people that have sold their soul for money and they've got 6 houses across the country and they're in them by themselves. And I would much rather have respect and relationships than money.
Yeah.
Because money is fleeting and it's great. But with faith, money's awesome because, you've got it in the right slot. It's not the answer.
Yeah. And you learned real estate. I mean, you were working for your dad, at 15.
Yeah, but I'm doing something totally different. It's just was a journey.
Yeah.
And, I put really good people around me. And when I didn't know what I was doing, I'd go get advice. But I never let them know I didn't know.
Right. And you probably
Fake it till you make it.
Did you go to your
I would go, I had some mentors in my life and I would go say, okay, here's what I've got. What do you recommend? And then I'd go do it.
So would you say when you were in your 20s and 30s, you were, working your fingers to the bone? I mean,
yeah. I was broke, right? I mean, I was broke and I was trying to stay sober. So I was going to AA meetings. I'd go to AA meeting at 7, at noon, and at 5 o'clock, I'd go there and I'd stay there till it was time to go to bed because I was afraid if I didn't, I'd drink. And I did that for a couple of years.
So how old were you when you were doing that?
I got sober on September 22nd, 1985. So whatever that is, 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And so does that coincide with when things really started to take off? Or
well,
you already
5 years later, because I had a big ditch. I was in a big ditch. I owed a lot of money and I had a lot of messes, and I had to build up my game between my ears because I was, I wasn't living a very good life when I was drinking, and there were a lot of things I needed to change, and part of it was making amends. Like I went to my after that accident, I went to my daughter. She didn't want anything to do with me, and I was with Keely, my wife. I wanted her to meet my wife and my future wife. And so we're at dinner and she was just so rude. It was terrible. And Keely says to me, she says, you go down there and you knock on her door and you're going to sit in there and work this out.
Wow.
So we're staying at the Drake Hotel in downtown Chicago. My daughter has a room. I go knock on the door and she goes, no, I'm not interested. So I go back up to the room and Keely goes, get down there. So I go down there. And for 4 hours, we both cried and talked. And she said, and the deal that came out of it was that I would go to counseling with her. And so I lived in Dallas. She lived in Illinois. So for 18 months, I would fly to Chicago, drive an hour and a half on a Wednesday night, have dinner with her, go to counseling Thursday morning, drive to Chicago, fly back to Dallas. And I just kept doing it. And one day she looked at me and she said, Dad, you don't need to come anymore. And it was about showing up because the counselor should be run out of town. She was terrible, but I just kept going. And now we're so close.
That's so cool.
But it's about fighting I had to fix what I did. And I can't make, like, if I offend you, I can't make you forgive me. It's your choice. And so, like, when you're an alcoholic, you go make amends to all these people. They get to pick if they're going to forgive you. And like, it's making amends is about walking into a room. If I owe you money and I can't pay you, but I've come to you and said, listen, I know I owe you $2,000. I'm going to pay you $10 a month until I pay it off. It's not ideal, but I'm addressing it. I could walk into that room and see you and I don't have to go hide. I've dealt with it. It's your choice whether you want to, kick me in the head or forgive me. Most people had grace. Many didn't. Like my ex-wife didn't forgive me for 30 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's tough. And that's an incredible story about your daughter, and you put in the work, and I think sometimes we think that just saying, I'm sorry is enough. And sometimes people don't even give us the opportunity to unback their trust. In this situation, she did. And you stepped up to the plate and you did the work.
Well, I had to fight for it because, But you know what? Relationships are so important. I mean, you see these families that are estranged, it's horrible. Like family, you don't get to pick them, but you got to get along with them. Like I'm Mr. Switzerland. Like I just want my brother and my two sisters. I just want to get along with everybody because I want to be in their lives. Now, do I agree with everything? No way. We all have different politics. We have different beliefs, but I think every relationship that's meaningful is worth fighting for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just from things you talked about so far with your deals and your family and, battling addiction, climbing out of a ditch, seems like you're someone who's just never backed down.
Well,
And I'm sure there were times in your life where
sure.
maybe you avoided the plate, but you stepped up. You stepped up to the plate.
You know what?
Multiple times, it seemed like these are the life-changing moments that you've had where you said, no, I'm not going to back down from whatever this challenge is.
Right. I wanted it bad. I came from such a place because of my drinking where I just wanted self-respect, and my faith was huge because once I found God, living right was easier. I mean, when you're in the Word, and like I find out if I pray in the morning and read the Bible, I don't swear because I'd use the F as a verb like for years, and so if I go on like a guy's golf trip and I put the devotional away, and like the third day I'm throwing F-bombs like crazy. So it's just about being consistent because like basically we're all slugs, right? Because that's why grace has to get you to heaven, because you're never going to get there, right? Because we're imperfect, and it's a great deal. I mean,
well, in the 7-day, church structure where we hit church on every 7 days, I realize if I just go to church, not only am I swearing, I have completely reformed my values by Saturday night.
Me too.
I mean, the world is so enticing. It just draws me right back in. It goes back to, being covered in the dust of your rabbi. It takes that morning dedication.
You learned it early. That's great.
Got to practice it better, but we're getting there.
But I mean, again, the perfection's off the table, right? You just got to have the heart to do it.
Yeah.
And I think at my age, trouble's like, I'm not going to get in any trouble, right? Because I mean, one of the things I like about being my age is you realize kind of what's important. I don't worry. My faith took worry off the table. And I'm in a position to where I don't have to worry about money. And I just keep myself, in a position to where I'm doing good. I don't put myself in bad positions.
Yeah. So I want to go back to something you said earlier about, hiring people. You have people in the right place that do the details, and you stay really big picture, 10,000-foot view. So how do you hire people, and how do you fire people?
So Brian, my partner, does all the hiring and firing, but here's what I would think about. Like I've done testing and I've done all kinds of things. So I'm a big believer that if you've hired the wrong person, you need to find another place for them with empathy. So if you need to replace someone, the sooner you do it, the better, and give them a long runway to go find another job. So I just had to terminate. It's been a couple of years ago. I love this lady. She was great. She'd been with me a long time, but she was doing a horrible job at her job. And I mean, I'd been through so much with her. And I just went to her and I sat down and I said, listen, I've lost faith that you're doing a good job. And I'm sorry, but I have. So I have to replace you. But I said, I'm going to take care of you until you find your next job. And so we gave her a long runway. We kept paying her. And so her family was fine. And she found a job, within 3 or 4 months. I would have covered her for a lot longer than that. But so I think it's about, listen, the money you give to other people is much more important to them than it is to me. And so like tip aggressively, be good to people that are out there fighting. I think the gap between the haves and the have-nots is getting so wide. And like I'm sitting there and you see somebody, a waitress, or like I get in an Uber. Here's what I do with Ubers. And this is fun. I get in an Uber and I've got like a housewife that's driving me to the airport, or she was driving me home. Actually, it was late at night. I said, "How long you been Ubering?" She said, 5 years. I said, "Well, how long do you work every day?" She said, "I work until I make a certain amount of money." I said, "Really?" And I said, "Well, how much is that?" And she said, I don't remember what it was, like $300. And so she's pulling me into my driveway. I said, "How close are you to that 300?" And she says, whatever it was, 150.
Mm-hmm.
I take 150 and I give it to her. I said, "Go home." And now that 150 was like, that's a memory I guarantee you she won't forget. And it's nothing big, but I love doing that with Uber people, because you talk to them and you understand where they're at in life. Like, some of these guys are going to college and it's just cool. So I think giving's important, but giving your time is more important than anything.
Yeah. I mean, giving it breaks all, conventional physics per se. And you have equal opposite reaction, right?
Yeah.
I give something, I lose. That person got something they won, right? That's what generosity and giving looks like on paper. But I think the miracle in giving and generosity is that you give something, they got,
And you have a gift.
and I got the gift of giving. I mean,
It's the best.
it's
That's
amazing.
when you
It's
figure
like,
that out.
we have it's like there's something spiritual that happens in
Totally.
that we get this amazing benefit.
So, like, if I'm at it, the people that are begging on the corner, with the signs, like 90% of the time I drive by them. But if I get the Holy Spirit, I give them money. Only when that happens.
Right.
Like, I go, okay, I'm going to help this person.
Mhm.
And I don't know why that is, but that's when I do it. And a lot of times, I'm not. But, you know what? We're all passing through life, right? So, like, after today, who knows when you'll see me again, if you'll ever see me again. But we all enter each other's lives, and we should all be kind to each other and help each other. And it's just, life would be so much better. There's so much angst in the world. It's crazy. You can't even talk about things because people get so bucked up about it. But I just think nice is good.
Yeah, no, I agree. So what is next for Bill Cawley? I mean, what are y'all working on as a firm?
So I'm actually busier than I've been in a long time. I bought a building in Uptown out of foreclosure, and I was going to renovate it and keep it. I think I'm going to tear it down and build a new building there, because you can see the market taking off. So I think what I want to do is I want to keep doing what I enjoy and not doing anything I don't want to. I'm going to live. I'm going to take time off. I'm going to travel. I'm going to live, because I don't know when God's got me, when my last day is, but I'm going to give. I'm going to give more. And I think I would say my goal is to leave more than I took, or what I got. And it's with relationships, with helping people, in making money is so fun. It's so fun. And, I want to enjoy the money, but I also want to give it away. And, so
okay. So you have
that's it.
Uptown development. Anything more on the toll road going on?
So I've got a site on the Tollway that I've got a building designed, and I kind of think it's time for that. I'm going to buy a building in Turtle Creek. I'm in the middle of getting that done, and I'm really excited about this mall in Plano. We're going to tear it down, and I think we got the stars moving there.
Really?
Yeah.
Their headquarters?
The stadium.
The stadium?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, I've been working on it for a couple of years.
Well,
They're going to announce in the next couple of weeks if they do. Now, they haven't signed anything, but we've spent a lot of time on it. I think they're going there.
Yeah. Well, because I heard, I guess, months ago about, the Adelsons and the Stars owners, and they got in this big, disagreement over AAC.
Yeah. I think the Adelsons have helped the guy you're looking at right here, Bill Cawley.
Yeah.
I'm a solution for their problem.
So they can have the complete control of AAC.
So Adelston,
because they own the Mavs.
Stars can't do anything where they're splitting revenues, so they want their own stadium, and I think Plano is going to provide that for them.
Gotcha.
And their fans come from there. A lot of them do.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think the city and the Addlestons helped me.
Directly or indirectly? Indirectly.
By the way, the lawsuit and those,
Right.
they don't get along, you know?
Yeah. Well,
too
and
bad.
I couldn't. Do you know the weeds of that lawsuit?
I don't.
I heard some things about it, but I can't really
It's
pick out.
just-
It's a he said, she said.
Yeah.
The Stars broke some sort of lease agreement where they had to keep their headquarters in Dallas.
Which is like
Which,
baloney
yeah,
to
right.
me.
And then they said, well, you can't do profit or revenue sharing because you moved your headquarters,
Right,
and they're going to bully them out at this
to me,
point.
that's predatory.
That's kind of how it felt
That's
to me.
not relational.
Well, no, it's not relational, and I hate to say it, but I haven't been back to a Mavs game since they traded Luka Doncic. It really affected. It really
Okay, let me
affected
tell you.
me.
The George Floyd thing when in the NBA, and what happened to George Floyd isn't right, but when they took off and wouldn't play, and they're making all this money, I checked off the NBA. And then when they traded Luka, I am so done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bad product. I mean,
Yeah.
you go there. I mean, they're 20 games under 500, and the seat costs you $600 to sit and watch them get their brains beat in.
Oh, that and all it is watching a 3-point contest now.
There's no defense. It's a bad product.
No, yeah, I think I'd rather.
I'm still a football guy.
I'd
I
rather
mean,
watch football
Me too.
on TV. Football. I mean, TV
College,
hockey. Hockey's
pro.
great too.
I love
But,
hockey.
but watching,
Hockey in playoffs is great. I watched the game last night.
yeah, the heartbreaker.
Yeah.
It sucks. But live hockey is the
It's the
most
best.
fun thing to
I totally
watch.
agree. And I think playoff baseball's pretty good,
Yeah,
where every pitch matters. But other than that, it's a beating.
you're right. No, playoff baseball is good because I mean something can turn around in one inning like that.
It's great.
and it happens sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I know. I've had a great time.
Yeah, me
chatting
too.
with you.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, we covered a lot. I think that's a wrap.
Is that a wrap?
I think that's
Awesome.
a wrap on Bill Cawley. Thanks for.
Really, settle.
Yeah. No,
I think you just did.
I think I'm doing this. Yeah. No. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Bill, we really enjoyed you being here. Tune in next time. We're gonna have more guests coming up. We're gonna be ramping back up, building Dallas, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for tuning in to Building Dallas, where we bring the stories that shaped North Texas. Subscribe, share, and stay connected. Until next time, keep building. Building Dallas is presented by Arrington Roofing, keeping North Texas covered, rain or shine.